Hello, everyone. My name is Joost de Laat. I'm a professor of economics at Utrecht University, where I also direct the Utrecht Center for Global Challenges. Thank you all very much for joining. I think we have a very diverse group of colleagues around the table, so thank you for joining this particular session. So the title of today's presentation is Global Community Engaged Learning, How to Get Your Students Involved in Civic Challenges like the Sustainable Development Goals. And I should just highlight, I think it's important to highlight that what I'm about to present is an effort at the Center for Global Challenges in collaboration with various colleagues at the university. And that's still very much in the beginning phase. So some of what I'll describe is underway, but a lot of it are aspirations. And I also hope that it will generate food for thought, feedback, and inputs from all of you around who've joined today. So with that. Maybe to start off with the following, the Sustainable Development Goals, and I'm showing you here a slide that was literally taken from the University Utrecht webpage, are now a key part of the new university strategy that has been developed. Officially, it still has to be adopted, but the strategy is online, and this is taken from the website. So the university effectively has said, no, we're going to be using the Sustainable Development Goals to guide and be informed by for our research as well as our teaching. Now, the Sustainable Development Goals, whichever one you take, they are complex international problems, and solving complex international problems requires a number of different things, which are the reason why we are focusing on developing these global community engaged learning opportunities. So kind of from the perspective of the academia, solving complex international problems requires collaboration of scientists from various disciplines, as well as action of different stakeholders in various countries, and it's important to emphasize the heterogeneity there. People have different interests, organizations have different interests, views and needs. It also requires new collaborations, again, to actively involve a diverse group of actors, including, and this is important, those people most affected by the challenges the SDGs aim to address. And those are people locally in communities near our university, but of course also communities around the world. And from the perspective of students, this requires developing certain what we call transformative competencies, such as cross-cultural, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary collaboration skills. Now, of course, you can seek to build and support these competencies within the education system at the university in many different ways. And we feel that through community engaged learning with this Glocal, so both a global and a local lens, can be an important contribution to do so, where you place local challenges, and they can be here in the Netherlands as well as abroad, into this global perspective, building on the SDGs, and then connecting societal stakeholders with teachers and students across different disciplines. So whereby effectively students in the various courses that they take get to work with and in support of societal stakeholders working on important global challenges. Now, within the center, community engaged learning with this international global lens is a key part of our strategy, and we try to achieve that in three ways. I won't go into great detail here, but the first one is through experimentation and by inspiring others. So We develop with the team that is connected to the center various CEL initiatives and try to inspire others through these initiatives. The third one, and I'm jumping, I recognize that because I'll come back to the second one. We try to promote knowledge exchange, and I'll show a concrete example of how we're trying to do that. And the focus of today's discussion is kind of the aspiration that we have to scale these efforts, these CEL efforts that we are supporting and that are taking place across the university by enthusiastic teachers already. And so how can we scale these types of initiatives and create bigger impact? I'll talk about that in a moment. I first want to just highlight this third point on knowledge exchange. So for example, we're busy building a CEL toolbox, and we just in collaboration with the Center for Academic Teaching at the university, we just published the first set of tools and are working on others, and the ones that we're currently working on are here, and they involve, for example, online a tool for online CEL as one of the tools that we're working on. Now, as I mentioned, within the and this is highlighted by the yellow ovals. We're collaborating. These are some examples. We're collaborating with teachers on individual kind of community engaged learning projects within with an international lens that we can learn from, that we can build on, and of course there are also others. And let me just highlight one. The field research Aruba program, which is housed by the University College Utrecht. Jocelyn Ballantyne is leading this program. I believe she's also connected to that. And so that's a program where students collaborate with university students in and from Aruba, supporting community engaged learning projects in Aruba itself. And so this is very much an international collaboration around challenges overseas, and that also involve online components. And I highlight this because these are the types of examples that we want to learn from and build upon to seek kind of greater skill within the university. So when you're looking for scaling CEL opportunities, building of these kind of various islands of CEL initiatives that are currently taking place, there's no lack of students when you look at Utrecht University, or staff, or various bachelor's and master's programs. And again, just taken from the side of Utrecht, just to give for those of you who are not from Utrecht, our university has 7 different faculties, close to 7,000 staff members, 30,000 students, 49 bachelor programs, and 147 master's programs. And so now this raises a question from the CEL perspective. Where do you begin when you try to achieve greater skill and have many more students be touched by CEL in this international context as part of their regular university education? Now, for us at the university, the entry point to achieve that skill are 4 University Utrecht-wide strategic themes. These are themes, and they're highlighted here. These 4 institutions for open societies, life sciences, pathways to sustainability, dynamics of youth. Within these themes, there are particular thematic areas called hubs that focus on societal challenges that are closely connected to the Sustainable Development Goals. So, for example, the future of work, the future of food, transforming infrastructures for sustainable cities, etc., etc. So these are groups of university researchers and teachers that are focal points and within the university. So there's, to put it simply, there's just a lot of activity already happening around these themes, and we want to leverage these to achieve greater skill around these international community opportunities. Aside from hubs within these strategic themes, we also have other kind of more loosely related, what we call focus areas. There are 10 within the university. For example, one of them, and it's highlighted here, is the migration and societal change focus area, which again connects a large interdisciplinary group of researchers and teachers around a particular theme. In this case, as an example, migration and societal change, where we're actively collaborating together. And so how do we want to take advantage of these thematic focus areas within the university that kind of transcend the different faculties that we have? So this is the last slide. So what we hope is to build and support a few pilot initiatives, kind of platforms around 2 or 3 specific thematic areas, like, for example, migration. And so what might that look like? So that, collaborating with a focused area or a hub, we identify, building on existing networks, I should add, a number of organizations. These could be public organizations, these could be non-profit, private organizations, active in the Netherlands, working on that particular theme, international organizations, as well as foreign organizations that in turn connect with communities, both here and abroad. We might also build on networks of organizations that already exist. So, for example, you have in the Netherlands, the SDG alliances, which bring together a number of organizations within the specific SDGs. And then in dialogue with these organizations, identify questions and research themes that are of interest for our faculty, the teachers teaching regular credit courses, so that they then can build in CL opportunities in this global context within their courses. And given the nature of these thematic areas, these themes will be of interest to faculty, to teachers in a number of different faculties. So that's what I highlighted here. In an ideal world, we connect with various courses across different faculties, and we may also look for opportunities where colleagues within the context of a particular course in a faculty also collaborate with colleagues at a foreign university together on addressing a community-engaged learning challenge through what is called Collaborative Online International Learning, COIL. So this is the ambition that we hope to work towards over the coming few years. We're currently we started doing a mapping with one of the focus areas, and intend to reach out to the various hubs in the near future to build kind of what you see here. Let me stop there. Then there's the disclaimer. It's not the most interesting one, so let me just go back there and then open it up for questions, comments from all of you.
Thank you, Joost, for this informative talk. If there are questions, there are none in the chat, but if you have a question for Joost, please raise your hand, and then the floor is all yours. You can turn on your camera if you want, but preferably your microphone so we can hear you. So if there are any questions, now is the time to ask them.
Comments are also welcome. Suggestions. And maybe if others can share experiences that might be similar for us to also be inspired by and learn from.
I have a question, if I may.
Of course.
Tatiana Alexeyeva, Saxion. What were the obstacles that you faced? It looks like everything went smoothly and according to the plan. Is it so?
Thank you for raising this question. So the obstacles, we still have to face many obstacles. I have no doubt about that. Because what we are, this last picture that I just showed is something that we are just working towards at the moment. And in terms of obstacles, let me just highlight a few obstacles that we try to address, and then also foreshadow some obstacles that we foresee, or foresee some obstacles. So one, in achieving scale, what we see around us in Utrecht, and I know there are also some Utrecht colleagues connected, so if they, please chime in as well, of course, but that the community engaged learning activities that are embedded in courses, there's a group of front runners, so to say, teachers who in one way or another are particularly inspired to do so, and are often spending long hours to build in these opportunities, because it does require, it often does require extra time and effort. You have to set up a collaboration with external organizations, their reputation issues, and it just takes time. And so this issue of time is, the time investment is a potential bottleneck to scaling community engaged learning, and to also in some ways have it reach the masses. CL is actually, just like internationalization, CL is also part of our new UU strategy. It's explicitly highlighted there. And so this question of how can you scale without kind of overburdening teachers that are already busy is a key challenge. And that's part of the reason why we want to take this approach, working with existing kind of institutional entities like the hubs and the focus areas, identifying a group of partners in this consortium, both local and international, to achieve scale and to kind of minimize the extra effort that is needed on behalf of the teachers, as well as on behalf of the societal partners, by facilitating this process. Now, in terms of challenges that I foresee, it relates actually to the comment that I just made. I think there are that there's a lot of heterogeneity in how excited colleagues are about engaging societal partners, and so I think there we have to be a bit opportunistic. Now, I showed a picture of about a dozen or so, a few more hubs, and a similar number of focus areas. Now, a challenge that I foresee is identifying those who are most enthusiastic to work with us in the beginning. We need to also, another challenge that I foresee but that's increasingly becoming less of a challenge, is online collaboration. How do you do that in a meaningful way? But as we this conference here is an example of we're learning very quickly, and we want to capture those. We very much set it up as a kind of as an experiment, and as part of an experiment, we also expect to fail. But we want to learn from that, and we're going to build that in, make sure that we learn and share those lessons. Other questions, comments? Thank you, Tatjana, and I hope this addressed your question.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Are there other questions for Joost? Malika, you have a question? Joost, are you still there?
I am still there.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Malika, the floor is yours.
Hello. Thank you, Joost, for your explanations. I have one question, because you mentioned that you are also developing several tools, and probably that's still currently in development. Are those tools also available for, I don't know, for public sharing or sharing with other universities, or how does that work?
That's a great question. So some of the tools we actually just finished and launched within the university, and as I mentioned, we're doing this together with the Center for Academic Teaching. and at the moment, they are not available for public use, but it's something that I think we'd be open to discuss if there is broader interest.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
There's another question from Tamar. Joost, Tamar?
Tamar, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No.
Yeah, I still find it very difficult to comprehend how this works. So I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more about one of the examples you gave, for instance, the Aruba project. How does that really come about? Yeah, to just try to get it more concrete of how this. Yeah, how this works. Is that possible?
Of course. Let me actually, let me give an example first from this platform idea, and I think Jocelyn, you might actually be connected. So you're welcome to give more information on the Aruba example. But so if we take, for example, the theme of migration. So a topic that various organizations are dealing with is integration of migrants in receiving communities. So this could be within the Netherlands. So that organizations are working on that from a number of variety of angles. So we could have a coalition of organizations, a consortium, around this theme of integrating migrants, and that might involve people that might focus on the educational aspects. How do you integrate migrants into the education system? It could involve questions around migrants, adults trying to get jobs on the labor market. How do you facilitate that? It could be organizations that try to address the image of migrants in the media. So they're on this topic of integration, you can think of a number of different questions that various organizations are working on that could be part of a consortium, and that are then also of interest, these questions, for students across a number of different disciplines to work on. So for example, this question of labor market might be of interest to colleagues of mine within the economics department. The question of the image of migrants in the media might be of interest to colleagues within our media department in humanities. So the idea is around kind of a bigger theme, in this case, the theme integration of migrants, to get a coalition of organizations on the one hand and a group of teachers on the other hand, to then work on these questions and to also bring the students and the teachers together at moments throughout the year. Concretely on the Aruba example, so that's a program where University College Utrecht students. Jocelyn, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Do you want to say you're leading the program? Do you want to share something?
Sure. I'll put my camera on so people can see me. Hi. Yeah, I am. I've been working together with a colleague from the University of Aruba on this project since 2014. And just to give you a sense of how it started, it really started with that collaboration. So the partners there, that is at the University of Aruba, and the local need for research about local issues. And that's really where it started. That partnership, and I think that's if there's anything that I've learned in this project and other projects that I've had since then that involve community engagement, is that it's that relationship with the partners, both your academic partners and your community partners, is really, really important, and that has to be established, and you have to have really clear common interests and common goals to keep it vibrant and to keep it working.
And so Jocelyn, so students work concretely on questions and topics that are defined in dialogue with the local partners in Aruba. I think you're on mute, Jocelyn.
Yeah, I was. To a large extent, yes, to a large extent, that's the case. In the sense that we use a course to kind of that the students, local students, or the students in Utrecht take, in order to give them a sense of what kind of issues are at play on the island, and then the students come with a proposal for a topic that they would like to write about or work on in their field research project, and then our partners at the University of Aruba and in society there vet those proposals and sort of look around to see who would be possible stakeholders. And the students are only approved to do the field work if we can see a clear path for community groups that they could work with.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Tamara, I hope that answered in part the question that you had.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I have a better view now. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I think there's
yes, there is one more question from, I hope I pronounce it right, Pierre van der Stok.
Yes, awesome.
Yes. It's 4 o'clock, so Joost, if you could answer her question and then wrap up this session.
Yeah.
Thank you for the extra time, Joost and John. I just wanted to thank you so much for your really inspiring talk. I am working on developing a fieldwork project for our new Global Studies Bachelor at Maastricht University. And I'm really interested in kind of how you work together with Jocelyn. So I can imagine Jocelyn's been working on this program since 2014. She knows the partners really well. She has that relationship already established. So where would your work, your team, and kind of the Glocal hub come in and support on that?
So the program that the Aruba program, that kicked off and started even before the Center for Global Challenges. So that's all Jocelyn and colleagues. And what we're trying to do in what I presented is kind of build on these experiences, learn from them to achieve this scale through these hubs and focus areas. There is specifically around community engaged learning, there's a special interest group university that we are part of and co-organize activities with, also kind of knowledge exchange activities. So for example, Jocelyn or somebody else might present on what they're doing. There's also a task force kind of at the university level to things more of for example, trying to promote this within the new strategy moving forward, and also coordinate activities. So it's in some ways it's often a kind of an informal way of collaborating. We find each other. Sometimes we concretely work together on specific initiatives. But the first step has been identifying who else is active and motivated in this space within such a large university, and increasingly, I think we are finding each other.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. I think time is up. I hope the presentation was of interest. And again, comments and suggestions welcome. If you have specific ideas that might benefit us or would like to collaborate, please reach out. And I'm sure we will connect and reconnect in the future with many of you. Thank you for joining.